I'm sure that you will find this very interesting because this will be like a shortcut to what we have been doing in CSS. I hope I'm clear enough.
Yes.
All right. So let me share my screen now. Today we are moving to CSS framework, and the one that we will use today is Bootstrap. So today's class will be intro to Bootstrap. We can't finish everything in it, but I will try to touch the important parts. So by the time you start to practice on your own, or you have projects projects to work on, then you can find out more on it. So let's start. What is a framework? CSS framework. It is a collection of CSS files that we can apply to our web projects. So framework is generally to make life easier for us. Instead of writing our code from scratch, somebody somewhere has already written the code according to the semantics of CSS language. So all we need to do is just to make use of it, is just to apply it to our own projects. So you will not need to start writing from scratch. All you need to do is just to put in place what you need. You might not even have to write any CSS at all. You will just be making use of the framework. So is a ready to use CSS library, just as you can see on my screen here. And we have different CSS frameworks. The most popular one is Bootstrap, which we will be making use of today. We have Tailwind, CSS, we have Foundation, Materialize, Pure, Bulma, and so on. We can make more research on that. And the reason why we make use of framework is to make our work faster. Number one here is to minimize time spent structuring layouts. So we can build a website in a day, even just within some few minutes. If it's not really let me say an elaborate project. If it's just a simple website, you can build it within some minutes. Then you are sure of responsiveness. your website will be responsive on every device, whether it is phone, whether it is tab, whether it is laptop, it will be responsive. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes.
All right. Then it will help us to eradicate typographic issues. Then we are sure of cross-browser compatibility. If it works on Chrome, it will work Mo- on Mozilla, on Explorer, or any browser that we use. Then we have large community. So we have like it will not be as if you have an issue and you will not have anyone to help you out. There's a large community to help us out. So now, what is Bootstrap? It is a powerful and it is the most popular front-end framework, and we use it for building responsive websites. So how can we now get Bootstrap on our project? How can we install it? So all we need to do is to get to the Bootstrap website. They have a website. So if you want to do it as I'm doing this now, you can just open your browser and just Google Bootstrap. So they have documentation. It is always good to check documentation for any framework or library that we use. So this is their website, getbootstrap.com. So I'll just click on read the docs now. We have three ways by which we can install Bootstrap, but I will talk of only two parts for now, because the other one will be when we are very good in JavaScript. And we need to install some things to get the third one to work. So that is why we will focus more on these two ways, which is to include it as a CDN. I talked of CDN last week, Content Delivery Network. And we can also download it and have it on our local system. So if you want to make use of CDN, now we have the CDN links here. Let me just copy. Is immediately for upper. Let me just copy this one. So you copy it, then go to your project. I've already created a new folder for this class. I'm going to add a new file, index.html, which will be our root folder. Let me just use that to generate the boilerplate. Then, if you want to add it here, we will add it as a link. That's the way we add external style sheet or any CSS link. So it is inside there that you now paste what you copied from that place. Let's copy the second one. This one is for JavaScript. We can make use of the CSS only, but some functionalities will not work unless we add this JavaScript. So if you want to add JavaScript to our page, the best and the very good way is to add it before the body closing tag. So we normally make use of the script element. So I can just go and click enter. So it is inside this source that will now paste what we have copied. Now we are ready to make use of Bootstrap. So let me just add h1 elements. Welcome to Bootstrap class. So let us run this on our web browser. I'll be using live server for this. So we are already using Bootstrap. Now, if you want to check if it has connected well, we can right click and inspect. Then you can look for network. Now, to make use of the CDN, you need internet. Now, let me refresh this page. As you can see that it has loaded the bootstrap.me.css that we linked and the javascript.js, which is this one and this one. So it is working well. Now, the second way we can install it is by downloading it. So if you want to download it, you go back to their website. You see download here. You can click on it. Then just click on download. By the time you click on download, it will download it so you can choose where to store it, but I have already downloaded it, so I will not have to download it again. After you have downloaded it, it will come in form of a zipped file which you can extract. So this is the one I downloaded. Let me open it in the root folder. I just right click here, click on reveal in file explorer so that you can see. I have already extracted it. This is how it will look like. It will come with the CSS and the JavaScript, CSS and JS folders, which we will now add to our project. So for the sake of this class, let me do Ctrl A, Ctrl X and paste it here. I can delete this one now. So we are ready to make use of Bootstrap now. The very first thing that I would like to talk about is containers. Containers are the fundamental building block of Bootstrap. It contains add and alignments, which will help us to align our contents within any device or viewport. Let us make sure that this line 6 that we have it, the viewport meta tag, so that Bootstrap will function well on our page. So let me demonstrate how we make use of container. Now, the way Bootstrap works is that they have written all the codes that we might want to use, all the CSS codes that we might want to use. They have written it, and if we remember that we normally make use of class, so inside the value you can now add anything that you want. Let's say I want to give this thing class now. So and if I now want to use it in CSS, all I need, let me just make use of this place for now. All I will have to do now is to call all these elements by the class name with the symbol dots, and the class name is nav. So I can now start to write my CSS code. So they have written all these ones for us. All we need to do is to apply them. So if we want to apply it, we will just make use of the selector, because they have their own selectors. So this is the Bootstrap code. That's if we have already downloaded it. We can you can see that they have written the codes, like anything that you might think of that you want to use. But if there is anyone that you want to make use of, or you want to customize your own code, then you can now add your own external CSS. So let me just look for container now, which is the first thing that I want to talk on. As you can see, they have dot container. So if I want to make use of it on my page, all I need to do is to create the element that I want to use it on. Now give it class container, which is the name that they have given it here. So that is how CSS works. Now, lest I forget, if we want to link the one that we have downloaded, it is still the same way we normally link external CSS. So all we need to do is to locate where it is here. It is inside the CSS, and it is advisable to use the minified version of it because it is bulky. So we can use bootstrap.me.css, bootstrap.me.css. So it is the minified version. Now, the way they normally get this minified version is after they have written the code, then they will minify it so as to reduce the kilobytes. Like now, this bootstrap.css file, it will be bulkier than the minified one, and we can also write our own CSS code and minify it. Now, let me quickly show us one of the ways that we can minify it. So this is the normal, let's say this is my own style now, and I want to minify this CSS file. After I must have written the code, I can just copy it. Let me just copy it to this point. So you can go online and just Google CSS minifier. So we have website online that can minify our code. All we just need to do is to copy the code, paste it there, minify it. Control V. So I can just click on minify. Then I can now copy my code. Control C. The same way I showed us how we can beautify our HTML code. Let me type HTML minifier. So we can minify our code before putting it online. So we can use any of these ones. And you now go back to your code and paste it. Let me quickly create a CSS file. CSS. I can now paste it. This one is for HTML. Okay, let me make use of this. So I'll just paste my code and click on minify. So it has, this one has minified this now. Then I can copy back my code. And now paste it. So this is the minified version. It is more or less like compressing it, because all these white spaces, it is just so that we can understand it. So this is the minified one for Bootstrap. And another reason for using minify is so that our web can load faster. So let's continue with container. Let me comment this one out. So we can use container float
Sorry, ma'am.
as well. Okay.
After you minify the CSS file and you,
Yes.
how come it's not showing, it's not reflecting any changes on the browser?
That is how. Okay, like no. It will not reflect on the browser, like here, right? On our
Yes.
web page.
Yes.
It will not, because all we are doing is just to remove the white space. It is still the same CSS, but we have
Okay.
removed all the white spaces.
Okay.
Those white spaces are just for us to understand this. Like now, if I give you this code, this minified one, you might not be able to get what you want faster.
Okay.
But if I give you this one now, you can quickly locate something, like it is readable, more readable than the compressed one.
Okay.
So that does not mean that it will change something on our web page.
Okay.
So let's continue with the class. So as I said, that it is always good to make use of the documentation. So this is the Bootstrap documentation. If you scroll down, you will see containers. And if you read through, you will see how it works. It really helps us with responsiveness on every device. As you can see how this is how they make use of it here. So now we have container, we have container hyphen sm. Now this sm means small, which is on small devices, like on extra small, and the pixel is anything less than 576 pixel. Now for md means medium devices. Sorry, sm means small devices, which is greater than 576. It is extra small devices that we use xs for. We will still get to see that one. Now for md is for medium devices, for lg is for large, for xl is for extra large, and xxxl is for extra large. And the pixel too, they are here. So I will really implore us to go through their documentation. Now, the way container works, it will give us left and right padding on our page. So let's say this one is here. Let me save it. Let me put the browser and the code side by side. Now, as you can see, that it has already given us automatic left and right padding. If I increase it, we will see it very well. So it gives us left and right padding. Now, if you want padding at the top and at the bottom, you can add that one by yourself. We will still get to how you can add this with Bootstrap. So this is how container works. Now, if we want container fluid will take 100% width. So it will be from the left to the right, like the width. Just for us to see, let me add color to this. We will still get to color, but just for us to see how it works. So this is it from one end to the other. Now, if it were to be just normal container, it will give us left and right padding, as you can see here. So for the SMMD, it is just for different devices. Like if we want it to be 100% on small devices, then you can make use of dot container sm. For medium, we will make use of md, just like that until this xsl. So let me just copy this. So we'll see how it works. Let me paste it here. So let us view it. This is, I would like to add color to it so that we will see it. So this is how it works. So let us inspect it. So let's say it is on iPhone 12 Pro. This is how it will look. Let's say it's on tab. So we have different sizes. So if I reduce this, you see that it will take the available width. As you can see that it is responsive. The major reason for all this is responsiveness. So this is how it works. Let's move to the major one that we normally make use of here is this first two, container fluid, which is 100% width on any device, and container two. But if you now want it to be only 100% width on small device, we can now add this one, and also on medium up to xsl. So that is how containers work.
Sorry, ma'am. I want to ask
Okay.
a question. In the meta set, in the meta this thing in the head, we also used to say something that deals with the head, that content with device with. Does this one override it?
Now, if you remember that I said earlier that we should make sure we add it. It is this line 6, right?
Yes.
Yes. We should make sure we add this. It will really help this to work very well. This one does not override it in that sense, but it helps it to function well.
Okay.
So Now, if you read through from here, it says create a new index.html file in your project root, and they said include the meta viewport tag as well for proper responsive behavior in mobile devices.
Okay.
That is why I said it's good to read documentations. So after this class, I will advise us to sit with this Bootstrap documentation and read it and understand it and practicalize with it. So now let's move to grid. Now, Bootstrap grid system is built with Flexbox and allows up to 12 columns across the page. We treated Flexbox and grid system in the last class, so we will see it in action very well here. Now, the grid system is responsive and the columns will rearrange automatically depending on the screen size. And I wrote it here that we should make sure that the sum adds up to 12 pages. Now, they said it is built with plus. So let me show us that one. I don't know if you can see any. Okay. Control F. So let me just container. As you can see here, for dot call, you can see here flex, right? Hello. Hope you can
Yeah,
still hear me. Okay. So Bootstrap makes use of flex. And the way this one works, let us go back to the documentation. So as I said, as it is, the grid system is made up of 12 columns. Like here now, this one is column 1, column 2, column 3. So like on our x-axis, like I said last week, I'm making use of that so that it can stick. So like on the x-axis, the total number of columns is 12. This one now is 2, this one now is 3, but everything altogether is 12, and we should make sure that it does not exceed that 12. How it works. Now back to index of HTML. So I want to have a class of container fluke. Container fluke. So this is how the grid system works. Let's take of call dots. I want to add color to it. Okay, dark. multiply by 12. I want 12 columns. That will not work. So I'm not getting what I wanted to do. So let me just go to is there anything wrong with this news? Okay. I want to use one shortcode, but it is not working. So let me just duplicate it. I want this in 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let us see it on the website. Let me just put something inside the box. Let me put it inside the and let me see if it is still working. So this is how it works. Let me just give it different colors. So we will count up to 12. Everything is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So all the rows, all the columns that you can have in a row, they are 12. But you can now work on it based on what you want. So I will quickly explain that one now. Let's say I just want to put 2 equal things on my page. like let's say P. So I can now make it 6 6, since everything that we have is 12. Inside a row, this line 16 is a row. Now inside this we have 12 columns. Let's just say it's that way. So if I put 12 here, it will take all the 12 columns. Let's see it on the page now. As you can see, it is taking the full width. I would like to make this thing only container because I want that padding at the left and right. So it will take all the 12. Whether you use container or container fluid, it is still 12 columns. Now, let's say I want it to be 2 equal parts. So I can say 6 6 because 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I want 6 equal parts. So it will give me to 2 equal parts. As you can see right now on my screen. Let's say I don't want it to be equal. I want this first one to be like 3 times bigger than this one. Then I can make this one to be 9. I will now make this one to be 3. 9 plus 3 is still 12. So this is how it will look. So we can change this based on what we want. I can make this one to be 8. And make this one to be 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. I can still make this one to be 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. It is not necessary that it will be up to 12, but it should not exceed 12. That is the major thing. So let's say I want it to be 4 times on this page. I mean, since I want it 4 times, it will be 3 3, because 12 divided by 4 is 3. So this one will be 3. I can duplicate this one. By the time I add up everything inside this row, it should be 12. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 12. So the Bootstrap grid system, it has 6 classes. The first one that I wrote here is .call, which is what I just used now. Now this SM is used for small devices. MD is used for medium, LG for large, XL for extra large devices. So let's just check the documentation. So this is how it works. SM is anything greater or equal to 576 pixel. MD is greater than 768, just like that, up to XSL. But if we make use of this call, is like the general one is for extra small devices. So the way it works is like this. Let me show us how it works. So still on this, I want to connect. So I can add call SN -3. Which means that on small device, let me comment this result. So this means that from small devices and upward, let us just inspect and see. Now, let us take note that small devices, anything greater than 576 pixels, but less than 768. So I just hope we can see the pixel by the left. Let me increase this so that we can see it. So as long as it is 578, it will still be three columns, but when it is now lesser than that, it will now take 100% width. And we can mix it. Let's say I want it to be 12 on small, but on bigger devices, I want this to be 6. So on small and down, it will be 12. But on medium devices or upward, it will be 6. 6 means that it should be in two parts. So let me just close this. And we can see that when it is on medium or upward, it will be 6. as you can see, but if I try to reduce it, if it will now take the full width 12 columns each, so we can mix it as much as we want. As you can see here, we have XS2 or extra small. So we can come back here to see how it works. So you can just copy the code and paste it and see how it works. So let's move to the next thing, which is typography. Now, for our fonts and text, we have different classes in Bootstrap that we can add. Bootstrap uses a default of 1 rem for font size, which is by default 16 pixel, and the line height, that means the line between each rows, the line height is 1.5. And for our p tag in Bootstrap, all p elements, they have margin top of 0 and margin bottom of 1 rem, REM. So, and also for our headings, it has H1 to H6 too. And we have display headings too. It makes use of display 1 to display 6 as well. So let's see this at work. And we start with the p tag, which we already have. So we have class lead for paragraph tag. Lead. So it will not be our normal p tag. Now, there's one thing that we can do as well. Let's say we want to know how they style this lead. We can just go to the bootstrap.css. Then we normally use Ctrl F. Then you can type .lead. Then you will see the size. So it is only showing once, 1 of 1. So, and the style that they gave it is font size to be 1.25 rem and font width. Then, if anything comes to our mind, maybe we want to make use of one style, we can just come here and find it. So let's talk about the headings. Now from H1, okay.
Yeah, like for that lead that you just showed now, what if you don't want the specified this thing for it? Can you edit it?
You can create your own style.
Okay.
Let's say I don't want that one now. Let me just make use of this one. So I will give it my own class. Let me just call it my class. And give it, let's say I want font width. Let's say I just want to I want my own font width to be bolder, or maybe like 900. Then we will write it this way, important. So this will override this one. So let me just link it now so that we will see. I'm not making use of this. Let me move to that my style and link it here. As you can see that it has changed. So that is how you work with.
Can you remove that importance and let's see how it works without that importance?
Okay. As you can see that it still works, right?
Yes.
Because CSS works like it's just like waterfall from top to down. Now let me put this link before this our bootstrap, and let's see. Can you see?
Yes.
So as I said, when we first started CSS class, that the one that we first of all take effect is the inline CSS, which is the one that we add here, like the style and so. So and the next one is the internal one, the one that we add here. That is how CSS works. So and the last one is the external one. So now if I come here inside this one and I give it style, this one is we override everything that I've done
because it's inline.
Yeah. So that is how it works. Now let me change this one and add this one. Can you see that it has changed? Though this one comes after it, but with this line of code, this importance, it will override this no matter wherever it is. I hope we understand that part.
Yes.
So let's move on. What we want to do now is the H. So we have, let me just use div. And let's say I have some things inside here. Let me just comment out this. So if I want to make this one H1, there's what we call H1 class 2 in Bootstrap. So up to H6, let me just make it up to 3 now. We can add the class just as the name is. And if you want to see the style, you can go to the Bootstrap file and look for how they style it. So now let's make use of maybe just like three of this. Now, if I want to display a normal, like if I want it to be bigger, I want my heading to be bigger, I can make use of display. We have what we call display. It is from 1 to 6. As you can see that it is bigger. Now for display 6, that is the list, just like H1 to H6. So we have display 1 to display 6. If you want to see how they style it too, you can go to the code and check. So we have other classes that you can make use of. If you go through the documentation, you will see it there. Let me just work on this small and text decoration, and let me just see how we can quickly work with maybe 4 of them. So if I want my text to be small, I'll just put small. And it should be small. Let's say I want everything to be capital. There's what we call text uppercase. So everything will change to capital. Let's say I want only the first letters, then only the first one will be capital. Let me increase it so that we can see this very well. Now, let's say I want this to be at the right side. There's what we call text right. It will be text end. Since we have text starting, it will be text end. So it will just go to the end. We have text start and text center. Let's say I want it to be at the center of my page. I will make use of text center. Now, if I want my anchor tag, now by default, anchor tag comes with decoration. So it will come with color and it underline it, but I don't want the decoration. I can give it class of text decoration none. Text decoration none. So it will change it for me. So if we go through the documentation, we will see more on that. So now let's move to colors. We have different, now Bootstrap has given us its own colors. So we are limited to their own. That's if you want to make use of their own. But you can change it the same way that I have showed us if you want to mix our own color. But if we want to make use of Bootstrap color, they have colors for text. and they have colors for background. So these are the names of their own color. This text muted, it will be like fade, it will be like a fading text. Text primary is blue, success is green, just like that. So let us just try it on this p tag. So let's say I want my text to be red. I will use danger, text danger. As you can see that it has changed to red. So if I want it to be like blue, you can go to the documentation and check the coloring. If you change to blue, so that's muted. This is how it looks like. So if it is green too, the same thing too for background, but the way it works is BG. It makes use of BG. So we can now add the color. Let's say I want to add green. Green is BG success. So the background color will change. Just like that. We have different colors. Now let's move to navbars. Now navbars simply means navigation bar. A navigation bar is a navigation header that is placed at the top of the page, and we use .navbar. So let's see the documentation for that. If you cannot quickly get what you want, you can just search navbar. This is navbar. So let me just copy this and paste this on our page. Let me remove every other thing. So we have different types of navbar. It is showing this way because I have increased my font so that I can, let me change it back to 100%. As you can see, without writing code, adding CSS, I already have my navigation bar at the header. If we notice here that they put BG light, let's say I want BG dark. So it will change. So we can manipulate it to what we want. Let me do that text left. we can add as many things as we want. So the text lights did not show, but I'm sure if I add it on each element, it will show. Let me try out for this one. Let me just paste it in. It will show. So we can just come here, grab any nav that we want, copy it, paste it, and edit it. So they have different nav bars that we can make use of. If we want to add an image to our page, this is a nav bar that we can make use of. So we can see how that works. So inside the, let me just paste it down there. It's only there inside the A tab, so I can only replace this one. So let's see the effects on our page. I want to remove this one as well. So since I don't have the image, that is why it is not showing on my own page. So let's move to the next one, which is Carousel. Now, it is a slideshow for cycling through elements. So let's see the documentation as well. Like if you want images that you want to slide through immediately after this navigation bar, let's say I want an image. So enter. Inside this again. Please don't. So let's say I have here, and I want to put Carousel inside this place. So we can scroll and search for Carousel. So this is how it works. It will continue to slide through images. So we have the one without controls, just like this one. We have the one with controls. Controls means these side arrows here. So you can use it to control it. We have the one with indicators, which is the one down here. So you can just scroll and pick the ones that you want. We have the one with captions. just like this one, first slide label. So let me just copy this one. I want this one. So let me just copy this one and paste it. Now, I don't have images right here. Let me quickly copy image that I can use. Reveal in File Explorer. So let me make use of this image file that we were using before and paste it inside here. So depending on the number of slides that you can have as many slides as you want. Let me save and view. Now, so let me just give it height of, let's say, 200 pixels. So it is always good to get a very good image with the right height based on what you want. So if I only want this nav and the image on this screen, so you can convert we have online website where you can convert your images. There is one called I Love Images, or you can just go online and browse resize image. Resize image. So you can resize you can resize this, but make sure you resize it in such a way that it will not still lose its value. So if I click here, it should go to the next one. So I can just come here and just edit it to what I want. So make sure that all the images that you want to use there, they have the same height. They have the same height. I'm just using this one as an example. So that is how Carousel works. Now let's talk of cards. A card is a bordered box with some padding around its contents. It includes options for headers, footers, contents, colors, and so on. Let's get back to the documentation. So this is card. So you can scroll through it and look for the one that you want to make use of. We have different ones with different features. So let's say I want the one with titles, text and links. I can just copy this one and edit it. So let's say I want two things on this page. Put it side by side and duplicate this. So inside this one, I want to paste that card. So this is the card. And in case you want the one with images, let me just do this also. I can just copy it and paste it here. So notice that they gave it a style with width of 18 rem. Now, if we don't give it this style, it will take all the available space. Let me remove it so that we see what we're seeing. So it will take all the available space. But if I give the card the style, it should take only the width that I have given it. So since I just wanted to take half of the column, I can just remove it that way. So that is how cards works. Now let's talk about how we can style our table. So we normally make use of the dot table. Now, before we start practicalizing that, I want to talk about padding and margin. So if we want to give it padding, we have what we call P. P stands for padding, M stands for margin. So let's say this container, I want to give it margin top. I will write empty, then it is from 1 to 5, sorry, from 0 to 5. 0 is if you don't want any margin. So the highest one in Bootstrap is 5. So let's say I want that 5, margin top to be 5. As you can see that it has given us margin here. But if I want margin top, margin bottom to be 5, we make use of the Y, like for Y axis, like top and bottom, MY 5. Now, if it is for the side, we have what we call MS, that is M start 5. So let me minimize this so that we can see it. We have what we call MS, which is margin start. Then we have what we call E2, ME, which is for end. Now that we are working with Bootstrap 5, this is how this one works. But if it were to be Bootstrap 3, I think even Bootstrap 4, it makes use of ML, margin left, while instead of ME, it makes use of margin right. But now in Bootstrap 5, margin right is ME, which is margin end. Then we have margin start. So we can make this 3 or 4. And if you know that we want to give both 5, 5, we can compress it left and right to be X. That is for the X axis. So that is for margin. Now for padding, it is P. So let's say I want top and down padding. I can say MY to be 4. Sorry, I can say PY to be 4. Then let's say inside this card, I want padding as well. I can say P. If I want both left, right, top, and bottom, I will only use P. So let's say I want it to be 5 as well. So let me give this name color. Let me read the info. So as you can see, I prefer daylight. So as you can see that it has given me margin here. So I don't want this MX. I can leave PY and MY to be 5, 5. So then there is what we call border too. So if you want to add border, you can just put border, just like the name is. As you can see, the border right here. So you can make more research on how you can make the border to be thick. I want border bend. So it will change to red. Now let's continue with tables. So if I want to add table in my page, still inside this row, stay inside this div, I want another column 12. It is inside there I want to put my table. Now let me add another row inside the container. This div ends with the first row. So let's see how their table works. Table. So as always, they have different features for table. So as I wrote here, we have different responsive. We have class for that one too. So let's just copy and paste one of their tables here. And then we make use of this one. So we can now start adding different things to it. So let me do this free Wi-Fi. In Wi-Fi. So the first thing is the table class. If you put the class as table, it will automatically bring it down to be like this. Now, if we want it to be responsive, okay, before we get to that, let's say I want stripes. We have what we call table stripes. Table stripes. So what that one will do is that the first one will be the normal column, then the next one will be like a deeper one, just like that. And we can also make use of table bordered. Let me just copy and paste. So it will give our table a light border. As you can see here, that everything is now happy border. Then there's what we call table over. Table over. So if you over on it, it will make difference. So let me just duplicate this. Now without the table over, if I over on it, it will not do anything. But with the table over, if I over on it, it will change the color of the particular one that I'm on. Now we can also give it color. Let's say I want table dark. So this is how it will look. We have table warning. Just those coloring from danger to warning to primary. You can add any color that we want. It will change it. So if I want this T head, only this T head to have maybe like dark color, I can make it table dark. So only it will now be dark. The same thing to here. If I want this row to be table, let's say warning, like yellow, only this row, so we can continue like that on and on. So let's talk about table responsiveness. So now if I want this table to be responsive, let's say I have let me duplicate this. As you can see that we have so many things and we now have to scroll. So but instead of me having to scroll the whole page, I can add table responsiveness so that it is only this table that we have the scroll bar. Now we have to put that one inside a div with the class of table responsive. Let me just cut this and put it after the table. So as you can see that we can now scroll on it. So we have table responsive SM and XSL. I believe by now we know what SM means. We know what XSM. So we have SM, we have MD. to MD. I hope you can still see my screen.
Yes.
Alright. So now let me make it MD. So this screen size of my web browser falls in between this FG. That is why it is showing. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is images. So we have different ways we can style our images as well. So let's get back to our document. So around there, then we circle deep lock. It's supposed to work. Okay, sorry. Making use of call for, so it is centering at that particular part. Okay, so that is how that one works. Let's quickly move to alerts. Now, if we want to display alerts on our page, we have the alert class. Then we have different colors for it. So let's just make use of that. So we duplicate this. So this is how alerts will work. So we can make more research on that. We have the alerts, then the alerts success. So it can be of any color that we want. Like, so let's quickly treat button before we move to the last item for today. So for button, we have the .btn class, and we have different colors as well. So let us practicalize that. Let me duplicate this one, but now inside this div, and we have button. So now for this to work with Bootstrap, I will give it a class of btn. Now, as you can see that giving it a class of btn alone, it has changed the outlook. Now let's say I want to make it of color green. So I will make use of BTN subtext. Then if I want it to be larger, we have BTN LG for large. So it will be large. Now,
Sorry, Ma, please. I want to ask a question.
okay.
Yeah, for irregular CSS, it was easier. It was easy for us to know. Oh, okay. Now, for example, we want to post red. We want to use because the colors were named after the regular nomenclature for colors. But this one
Mm-hmm.
that green is success. How do we know that? How do we remember all these
Now, with
abbreviations?
time, as you make use of it, it will stick. Just as you can see that I'm just writing it because I've used it over time. You don't need to rush yourself. For now, you can just go to the documentation, look for colors. So it will give you the different colors and how it looks.
Okay.
Yes. So this one is for text. You can see that text primary it will be blue. Text secondary it will be like dark. Text sources it will be green, just like that. So, but
Okay.
they they are really helped us by making it to be the same all through. What do I mean by that is that for text, primary is still primary. Now, if you want it to be a background color, it is still the same name. Primary is still primary.
It will
Secondary,
be BG.
so yes, it will now be BG, but it's still the same color. But with time, it will stick. And if you can't remember it, you can just come here and just search. And you can even still work with the one that you have on your system. So let's say you are offline and you need to get the color. So they have mixed it here.
Okay.
Uh, Everything is here. Everything that you might want to make use of. So that is how it works.
Okay.
They've given it the name at the upper part. Even the color, you can see it here. So let's move on. Then for the last thing for this button, if we don't want it to be like this, there's what we call outline. Outline. Let's say I want it to be red or to be outline. As you can see, it is outline. It is until you over on it that the red will now show. So we have BTN small 2. That one is BTN SM. So it will be as small as this. So we have this outline for different colors that we might want to use. So let's move to the last thing for today. which is forms. Okay, for BTN block, if we want everything, like if we want it to take all the space, then we can make use of BTN block. It will take all the space on that row. That is what BTN block is used for. Let me try and make this thing 12 and see if it will change. And if it does not change, then we will. Let's quickly see how it works. Button. Okay, this is it. So let me just I'm trying to look for the one with G block. I mean with BTN block. This one they are already using D here. Maybe we should come back to that so that we don't waste our time. We can still make use of W3 school to check that one out. But let's quickly work on forms. If we want to style our form, we can just come to the documentation and go through it. So they have different features as well. But the most important thing for the input and text area is this form control. So if you add it on any input, it will automatically style your form. Let me just copy the first one, this one, and paste it on our page so that we'll see how it looks like. So let me make use of this. So this is how the form will look like. Let me add BTN block to this one and let's see if it will work. Okay, maybe BTN block is not used with Bootstrap 5 because as I'm typing it, it is not bringing it out. So that means it will not work. So we can make use of what they have in their documentation. So as you can see that we can build a whole website just within some few minutes. By the time you master it, you see that you can build a whole website within a day. It won't take you time. But if you have the time, of course, you can write your own CSS. The framework is just to make work easier and faster for us. But it is somebody too that sat down and did all those things. So we can also write our own CSS. And for the assignments that I gave before we do Bootstrap, please let us make sure that we use our normal CSS for it. I don't know if anybody is through with the second assignment.
The Facebook page.
That's the last one. I mean the second one, the Udemy.
Yeah, I think I'm done with Udemy.
Okay. So have you pushed this on GitHub?
I did, but I don't know. I think I'm having issues with that GitHub. It's not. I can't find the directory on my. When I check, I can't find it. But I know I did it, but I'm not seeing it there.
Okay. Will you like to?
Yeah, I'm not even getting it at all because I tried doing GitHub. I'm not.
Please, I didn't get that.
Okay, so I was trying to go through the way you said we can upload it on GitHub, and it was not. You went through the VS Code, and it was not bringing out the GitHub code for me. So it's bringing the normal CMD stuff for me.
Okay, so I will like us to quickly resolve that. We have actually come to the end of today's class, but I want us to submit our assignments. So let me quickly deal with it within the few minutes that I have left. Can you share your screen? Let's first start with Mr. Ibukun.
Okay.
So I will not be.
Wait, my system is off at the moment. It can only use 2 hours, and the class is more than 2 hours, so it's not already.
Okay. When we are done with his own, then we can address yours too. Let me just stop sharing.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the GitHub.
Okay.
Okay, let me check this.
So for the Udemy, you have not put anything inside it.
You know, the first time we opened this GitHub,
yes.
Mr. Longfemi did something for us that we're able to name a directory or a repository also. I can't remember maybe repository also.
Okay.
But after that time, I've been trying to push the other ones I've written, but I'm not really getting it very well. So I don't even know how to what I'm going to do now, Seth.
Okay, so let's just start with a new one. Have you done the Facebook?
I'm not done with the Facebook, but I've done the Udemy, and I did a
Okay,
personal one for church too.
Let's make
One
use
I
of
share.
the Udemy one now.
Okay.
Click on Ibukun Akinpade. So click on repositories. So you have 3 repositories for now. So I just want us to start from the beginning. Now click on new.
New.
Yes, this green one. Now wait, you can either create a new repository by clicking this new, or going to this your icon by the top right corner.
Okay.
Just click on this. So you will see new. Okay, I think it's still your repository. Okay, so just click on that new.
Okay.
That
Sorry, I
green one.
want to ask something.
Okay.
Do you create a new repository for every file you want to push?
For every project.
Every project.
So yes, now this Udemy one is a project on its own. So you will create a repository for it. That church one too is another one you will create for it. Just like that. So you cannot have as many files as you want inside that repository.
Okay. For example, now for Udemy, and I created a repository for it. So which other files will I upload with it? Since I already have my index to HTML there.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Now, let's say for Udemy now, I created a new repository. You said I can add other files to it. So which other file am I going to add to it?
Now, let's start. Click on this new.
Okay.
So give it a name.
Can
This
I
one
give
will
it
be for that it will be for that Udemy.
Okay.
So they said.
Can I still use the Udemy as the repository name?
You will have to use another name, but by the time you type it as you have typed it, if it is available, then you can make use of it. That means that the Udemy that you typed before, maybe it is not the same words.
Okay.
Because on the normal it will not allow it.
Okay.
Yes.
So it has taken this then.
Yes. So you can just scroll down. Just scroll down. Now click on create repository. So you have created one now. What we need to do now is now to push your code online, and it has given you some steps that you can take to create it. So with this echo, git init, git add.
Okay, this one.
Yes. No, now let's copy it one by one.
Okay. With the echo?
Let's just start with git init.
Okay.
So you will now enter your local folder. You now open it with VS Code.
Okay, that's the way I do it.
That's Udemy.
Okay, it's open now.
So you can use Control back tick to open your terminal.
Okay.
So you can paste now. And press enter. Initialized empty JIT repository. So if you go inside your folder now,
Okay.
you will
I should
see
go to the Udemy folder.
Yes. Can you go to the view?
To the what?
To the view, like I want you to set hidden files to be on. View up.
Oh, okay,
View.
okay.
Click on show. Click on hidden
Items.
Yes. So as you can see that without JIT in it, it has created this folder for you. This .jit.
Okay.
So now let's copy the next line of code on your GitHub.
Okay.
So we can all follow through this same process to push our codes on GitHub. Now, wait, for this one, we will not be using git add readme. This one we add only this particular file, and we don't even have the file here. So we want to add all our files. So it will not be git add dot.
Okay.
Just backspace. Now add dot here. So we want to add all our files.
Okay.
Click
so enter, right?
Enter, yes. So copy the next one. The next thing is to commit it. Control V. Okay, you've already clicked on enter, right?
Enter, yes.
Okay, so let's move to the next line of code.
Okay.
So what we normally add inside this commit double quotation is what you have done, or the changes that you have made.
Okay.
So we want to change the branch now to main, because GitHub is no longer using master. Click on enter. So the next one. Now, for this git remote add or origin, this link HTTPS that is in front of it, it is the link to this particular repository.
Okay.
So you can paste that one. So the last one now is push. With this last one, your code will be online. Of course, we need internet for this one too. So it has put it. Now you can go back to the browser and refresh your page.
Okay.
So as you can see that all your codes, they are now here.
Okay.
Now, if you want to now send the link to the Slack page,
Okay.
click on this code.
Okay. It even copied all my images too with it.
Yes, but I will let you know how you can avoid pushing some things.
Okay.
But let's say you are now done with this assignment and you want to send me, like you want to send the link on the Slack page.
Okay.
So that I'll be able to see your work. Now, all you need is to copy the link and paste on Slack. Click on this code.
Okay.
So you
Is the link right?
Yes. You can just copy it. Then you will now go to Slack and paste. That's just how it is being done. Now, let's see. So I will expect everyone to follow these same steps. So this is just how you will do every of the assignments.
Okay.
So now let's see how you can ignore. Okay.
I want to add the new repository now, so I'll go here. Okay, or maybe I will back
click
it.
Click on your repositories.
Okay.
Yes. Then you will now see new. You will now click on new. So even if you still want to update your code, like that Udemy code now, you can still edit it on your laptop. Then all you will need to do now is git add dot and commit it with git commit. Then you can now push it.
Okay.
So let's just try that one now. Go back to that Udemy project.
Okay. Is it on my
laptop?
My VS Code.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, let's say you don't want to push
my pictures
images too. Yes. So right on the left, click on add new file.
Okay.
Yes. So the name of the file will be dot git ignore. Very good. So click on enter. So you will now put here the link to the file that you don't want it to delete.
Okay.
So yes, now it will be, just paste the name of this your image there.
Okay.
I think it's a cat icon.ppng, right?
Yes.
So let's always try to rename our image to be one word.
Okay, for ease.
Like, even if it will be more than one, let it not have space. Let us just try to add that.
Okay.
But this is how it will be. Let's say you want it to ignore. Let's say you want it to ignore this CSS too. you will type it to there. You will type the name, like everything that you will type here, it will be like the link to the directory, just like our href attribute.
Yes.
What you would have put inside that href, that is what you will just put here.
Okay.
It can contain dot slash, just like the href, but it is only the value that we put here.
Okay.
Now you can see by the left side, go to those icons by the left side, the one under the search, like by the left, pata pata.
Okay.
Yes, the third one. Yes, that is where you can also control your gist. Click on it. Wow, I think you have so many files here. Click on line 4 inside your code.
Okay. Is it inside the main code or the ignore code?
Yes. I've seen what I want to see. So you have so many things to click on. These on these changes, the drop down. Okay. So here you can stage your changes. Just move to the right. Those are icons in front of changes. You see the plot here, yes. So if you want to discard them, you can click on that, but click on the plus one. That's where you can stage it.
Okay.
Please don't discard it too. So you can click on that. So it will stage all your changes. But I wonder why it is so much like that. It is now, if you want to push, let's just use our normal, let's use the terminal. So all you need to do is just type git add then dot, yes. Click on enter. So you now click on git commit, git commit space -m, small m, then the double, then space, the double quotation mark. You can just put sim in between it, added git ignore, added git ignore file. So we will always make our commit to be as short and succinct as possible. So you can click enter. So it is saying that you have only changed one file, which is our git ignore. Then you have added 3 things, which is from line 1 to 4. So all you now need to do now is just to type git push. Now, if you are doing a new repo, you will need to git push -u, then origin, then the name, just like the ones that we copied and pasted. Yes. Okay. So, but now all you need to do now is just git push. If you have created it. So if you go back now, you will see the changes. So for now, you can just copy those codes and paste it somewhere on your laptop where you can easily copy and paste.
Copy and paste it.
So if you refresh, you will see the changes. So I will expect everyone to follow this same path. So this brings us to the end of our class.